Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, we're taking a look here today at ADA, and this is a request from one of my community members. Thank you so much for requesting this. And, I just want you to know if you're new to the channel, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should do your own research and always take ownership of your own trades. And just know that I share my trades with my community members. If you're interested, link in the description below. And I just provide, obviously, entry targets, sell targets, profit targets, and just overall, educate you on how I trade myself. And I have about an 80% success rate overall. In general, that's kind of where I average and that's where I fare. So check that out in your own time, of course, but if not, that's perfectly fine. If nothing else, reference my Telegram community, get in there, get engaged, got a good group of folks there, you can learn a lot. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right to it. Let's check out the charts. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here today at ADA, which is Cardano. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on, because any good trader will understand all the angles before they jump in and make an investment. This is not gambling, this is investing, right? Don't forget that. So this is Bitcoin, of course, and just to preface, I use TradingView.com desktop application. I have a link in the description below for a free month of the paid version, so you can see if you like it or not. Recommend that just because you can get more than 2 indicators present at any given time. It works out favorably. Moving forward for the 4-hour chart, we're going to enable the SMA, and basically this is the 50 and the 200. So the 50 is the simple moving average 50, and the 200 is a purple line here essentially, and what those are is those are just basically indicators that the industry leaders are using, right? So we need to be sure to get on board with them and utilize the same tools because that's the best way to stay effective. So you'll notice that the 50 works as a consistent support and resistance. Same here was a resistance, then a support. So presently it's working as a support level. It might get tested near the end of the weekend, early next week, depending on how the price action responds. There's a chance Bitcoin might retrace back down eventually soon to go ahead and test 46,500. That's my hope, but we'll see what happens, obviously. We have a secondary support below 46.5 at 44,002, and of course another support at 42,500. Okay. So we got a decent amount of support here, and also note as well that 51,000 is the next major resistance minus any potential resistance Bitcoin will create between now and then. All right, so we've got pretty much open season here. We can essentially consider Bitcoin on a bull run. It's safe to say we are in full effect there. Moving on to Ethereum, repeat the same thing I just said for Bitcoin for Ethereum. You have it, just with different support and resistance levels. We've got a support at 2,900, support at 2,400, and of course the previous 1,725. Furthermore, also note we have a major resistance about 3,550. So that could get tested in the next few days. So just be mindful of that when Ethereum starts getting closer to 35,000. Sorry, 3,500. 35,000, maybe in a few years. But for now, yeah, 3,500 is what we're looking for. Now, ADA is taking off here today. Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, man. Yeah, really, really ramping up. So on the one-day chart, first and foremost, what I usually like to look at is its average true range. And we're actually past that right now. So we're kind of in uncharted territories right now because of the fact that, ADA was averaging between $1 and $1.50 for the most part. Now it did ramp up here in May just before the China candle occurred, and it tried to test and went all the way up to 246. So keep in mind we're at 210 right now. There's a strong chance that if it continues the way that it is, we might test our previous all-time high at 247, then we'll see what happens from there. So just keep in mind that we're above the average range that ADA is usually capable of or has been averaging lately. And just note that it's probably taken off because, well, obviously it needs to. It's been held down for too long, but it's also we've got really good fundamentals, so do your research there. Moving on to looking at the RSI, obviously extremely overbought. I'd be surprised if it continues on much further. Any good bull run needs to have some type of retracement. We'll look on the shorter time frames and see what that looks like, but just based on this metrics alone here and the fact that we're up, 45% in 4 days, that's kind of that's a lot of growth. And there's a chance we might see some retracement soon, but again, Bitcoin just keeps on legging up like it has been. ADA will continue to follow suit. Moving on to 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. We did have somewhat of a retracement here, but that looks like the same retracement we saw from Bitcoin here. So that being said, we are, honestly, it's just every time the price comes down from Bitcoin and goes sideways, ADA comes down and goes hard, right? So I guess we can continue to expect that, considering the fact that it's been doing that pretty consistently here. I'm fairly surprised with its growth, but I love it and I welcome it. It's a really good coin. It's a good long-term investment too. But generally speaking, the price is above both simple moving averages. We had this golden cross here, of course, before. That's not super relevant because that was just after the Bitcoin Bitcoin sold off all the way down to what was it? It was $1.05 for ADA at that time. That's a good value. So moving forward, honestly, at this point, 4-hour chart's really not telling us a ton, except for the fact that it's overbought and overextended. As we can see, look at that. That's just it's really high. I mean, the MACD is very, very exaggerated here right now. We did have a convergence on the 12th at 7. Let's go ahead and mark that really quick. And I like to mark that just to kind of see if there's a correlation between that and the cloud on the 1-hour chart. There typically always is, but I just like to verify that. So looking here, first of all, at the cloud on the 1-hour chart, big surprise. The price was in the cloud and broke out 1 hour before the MACD on the 4-hour chart signaled a buy signal, a long signal. So that's fantastic news for ADA. In other words, we are definitely in the next leg up here. This obviously happened because Bitcoin just ramped up, but regardless of that fact, we could see even more growth right now from ADA because the fact that Bitcoin had just shot up recently and is kind of going sideways. When Bitcoin ramps up and goes sideways, ADA does the same thing, only it's a slight lag. So we might even see this continue to go up, 215, 220, just to kind of match that same variation from Bitcoin. So all in all, good things here. Yeah, we're priced above cloud, and we are converging or recently converged on the MACD. Let's go ahead and see if the TD sequential tells us we're overextended yet or not. We're not. We got a reset. This is good. So as you can see here, count up from 1 to 9. Reset, went down, only counted down to 4. Now we're up to another 4 as well on the upside. So this basically just means we could have another 5 hours worth of continuation and bullish momentum because it had time to consolidate and kind of not necessarily even retrace, just more so consolidated when we get a bunch of these resets. So there's a good chance we could see, again, maybe 220 here in the next 24 hours. Or more importantly, the next 5 hours, we might even see that because of the fact that we are right at the beginning, or say early middle of this potential continuation. All right, so just something to note. Looking at the 15, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. If we can go ahead and identify where the VWAP and the EMA are located. Price is over EMA, big surprise there. That's what happens. And the VWAP is basically working as a strong support level. It did have a slight variation here, but that did still hold. So even though we lost EMA here, price comes down, ramps up, and again. So we almost got this, it's almost like a reverse head and shoulders pattern. Regardless of that fact, it's the bottom line is the price is bouncing up over the VWAP and the EMA. So if you're new to the channel, VWAP is just the volume weighted average price, takes the volume last 24 hours, suppresses it as a price. When that variation, that deviation from here to here gets too high, that standard deviation, then there's a retracement. We're at about 7%, so we could go another 3% without having a retracement. So if all goes well, it comes up another 3%, goes sideways for a short while, and legs up again. That would be awesome, because then it would be a good continuation, and we'd be just fine. Okay, so just something to note here for ADA. Other than that, really, honestly, not much else to disseminate because it's just on a strong bull run right now. I just want you to be cautious in the fact that we are approaching a previous all-time high, or fairly recent all-time high, whatever the case is. Let's mark that just so we know. We are looking at kind of a ceiling of about $2.30. Yes, it went above that, but it closed on the one-day chart 2 days in a row at $2.30. So if we keep ramping up and we hit 230, there's a strong chance it'll reject. But if it continues to touch and test 230, then there's a strong likelihood it will break and just continue to start making higher highs. So if Bitcoin can continue from 47,500 to 51,000 in the next few days, then we'll see the same thing from ADA. It's going to pass $2.30. So my prediction here, based on the momentum from Bitcoin, yes, I think Bitcoin will go sideways and retrace a little bit. Therefore, ADA will probably do the same thing. But keep in mind, ADA does have another 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours left of continuation on this bull run. So, I mean, as I started this here, it went from 211 to 214. It could very well head up to 220, test that, and kind of hold tight. We'll see what happens soon, but I think it's safe to say that ADA is here to play. And I'm thankful for that because it's been a long time coming. This is going to be a good one. So if there's a chance to buy any type of dip and we get this to retrace back down to 170, 180, it would be worth investing. Right now, it feels a little overextended for my liking, of course, even though I feel it'll probably continue. I want to see what happens soon because, again, this is a strong amount of continuation. We got our RSI is close to 90 on the 1-day chart. We're going to see a turnaround soon. It may not be significant. It'll probably go sideways for a little while, but I hope we see a retracement so you can kind of average your price up, right? Or average it down, so to speak, get better value. So anyways, hopefully you found benefit here. Everything you learned here today, of course, I apply in my trading techniques. I have about an 80% success rate personally myself, and I share all of my trades with my community members. So feel free to reference that in your own time for my Patreon account if you're interested in buy signals, profit targets, sell targets, and just generally what I do every single day while I trade. I share that with my members. So check that out in your own time. So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and call it a day here. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.